Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Friday. It is Friday today, so you know what that means. Back with another video. I am so excited for this video, and it's also the new moon in Sagittarius today. So if anyone's seeing this, or actually you guys won't be seeing this on Wednesday, but I want to tell you guys happy new moon. I hope Wednesday the 23rd was really good for you. Jupiter went direct. New moon in Sagittarius, Venus and Mercury, all that good jazz. If you guys want to hear about that, go to my video, New Moon in Sag. It's titled It's Time to Get Real, and then it says New Moon in Sag. So if you guys want to know a little bit about that, please check that out. So today we are not going to be talking about astrology stuff. We're going to be actually talking about transmutation. We're going to be talking about how to transmute your pain into power. This is kind of a part 2 to the video that I did not last week, but the week before that. So last week we talked about the new moon in Sag, and the week before that we talked about how to change your mind, because it can change your life. It's called Change Your Mind, Change Your Life, right? And if you guys want to go back into that part 1, you don't have to watch it, but it's like a bonus, like if you do watch it, because it kind of correlates together. Because initially I was supposed to put this video story time. Okay, so if you guys don't want to listen to this, that's totally fine. You guys can go ahead and skip this part. I do have timestamps down below because I know people love to get to the point, and some people don't care. They can just watch the whole video. If you guys like who I am or my personality, I'm sure you guys, that's how I am with some YouTubers. Like, I can watch their whole entire videos, and then some YouTubers I'm like, okay, get straight to the point. You know what I'm saying? So it just really depends. But if you want to stay for the story, go ahead. So it was the beginning of November, let's say that. It was the beginning of November. I was starting this Change Your Mind, Change Your Life video, and it took so long because I think I did 2 videos in the same day, and I was burnt out. I had no energy, but I wanted to get these done because this November I was really into my hermit mode. There was like no hanging out with anyone or anything, because my guides were like, you have to spend this time alone, and I understand why I had to now, but I really wanted to get all of my content done because I wanted to spend as much time by myself with myself as much as I could, you know. But that didn't happen. I mean, it did happen. I did get to do 2 videos. However, the Change Your Mind, Change Your Life was already 30 minutes, and this part was supposed to go with that part at the end, towards the end, but you know, there was a lot of technical issues, but it is all fixed now, and we are going to do this transmutation video. But that's the reason why I say go back to the beginning, the first video, Change Your Mind, Change Your Life, because it does correlate with this video. It was supposed to go with that video, but it just didn't happen. Okay, so the story has ended. Let's go ahead and get into the video. Now, this video isn't going to be as long. I think it'll be about 30 minutes, just like Change Your Mind, Change Your Life. But I'm going to do a quick summary for you guys. Of course, you guys know how I love my quick summaries. It's because I want you guys to see these, so when you guys go down into the timestamps, you guys know exactly what you want, what you desire, whatever you're looking for, okay? So these will be down in the timestamps too. Now, the quick summary is, first we are going to learn how to disidentify with our mind. And if you watch the first video, I kind of tell you how you can expose your mind itself. Again, if you guys don't know how to do that, go to the first video. I will link it down below in the description box as well. And also, please like, subscribe, share. I'm really bad at that. But if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you guys like my channel, please subscribe. It doesn't only help me, it also helps my channel. But second thing that we're going to be talking about is transmutation. So transmutation can really help you guys like learn to be like alchemists. You guys can really learn how to transmute your pain into your power, transmute your suffering into consciousness, putting it into the forefront. So that's what we're going to be talking about with transmutation. And then at the end, of course, you know, I'm your girl. I got you with tips and tricks, and most of these tips and tricks that I give you guys are very similar to the ones I give you in old videos, because it helps so much and it can help in so many different ways. However, there are a few different odd and unique tips and tricks at the end, so you want to stay till the end for this one. Let's go ahead and learn how to disidentify with the mind, okay? Okay, so you already kind of know how to expose your mind because you watched the first video, you watched the clip where I talk about the mind and how to expose it, right? So now you have all of these gems. Now what do? You allow yourself to be vulnerable with yourself. You allow yourself to be patient with yourself, and you allow yourself to have compassion, because this is a journey. This is just like learning how to walk, or learning, like a baby learning how to crawl, and then they learn how to stand up and they learn how to walk. It is a muscle, okay? It's just like exercising. Instead of exercising, this is called innercising. And I actually learned about that December 2021. This guy named John, there was like this class that I did for a month, and he called it innercise. I was like, damn, that's awesome. Like, I love that. But so now we're gonna learn how to crawl. So with this information, you're going to allow yourself to, you know, be patient, have compassion, and be vulnerable with yourself, because this is not for the weak, okay? Vulnerability is not weak. It is such a strong, it's so strong that it can intimidate people because you're vulnerable, because it's not a weakness. It's actually a strength to expose who you are and be confident within that and be in that feeling. So you want to feel like you can, because vulnerability comes with trust, you know what I'm saying? So by trusting yourself and actually getting to know yourself and understanding yourself versus your mind, your essence versus the mind, it can really help you put the puzzle pieces together, not only from the now or even 5 years ago, but way back when you were younger. You know what I'm saying? And that takes time. That's a journey, okay? So you have to be up for it. This is not for the weak. Like, I'm gonna tell you that right now. If you give up easily, I don't think this would be for you. If you are so consumed within your negative energy, I feel like you're gonna have to come back to this a few times, and you're gonna have to really be tired of your shit before you actually start these baby steps, okay? It's until, like, you know, before you start this transmutation, okay? But learning how to disidentify with the mind can really help bring your essence up, bring your soul back into being the master and your mind being the servant. Because when you're in the energies of my life can never change, this will never happen for me, this is impossible for me, your mind is the master and your soul is the servant, okay? So we want to switch those. So this is how this can help you, this process, these steps, okay? So the key thing is to step out of your box. The key thing is to step out of your own illusions. And by doing that, this is a perfect time, especially if you're watching this right now. We are in Sag season. This season is all about freeing your mind, freeing yourself, being who you really want to be, going deep into those waters, and just having access to what you are, you know what I'm saying, and what you forgot about yourself and the parts that you rejected or suppressed. So this is like a really good time to step out of those boxes, step out of the mind construct that society's built for you, family, friends, whatever, okay? And I know it sounds scary, because you have to be vulnerable to do that. You have to step out of your pride and be like, okay, like, this is not what I want, this is not who I am, this is just an identity I put upon myself because I had to, you know, survival mode, the ego, just growing up in childhood. You had to find a way in life. I get it, I completely understand. And that's why you have to hold compassion with yourself, because you didn't create what the mind construct, but you have the ability to actually disidentify with the mind and disidentify with what you knew beforehand by stepping out of those illusions, by stepping not only your illusions, but stepping out of the illusions that was created from other people. I had a really big issue with that. I victimized myself so much because I was in other people's boxes. And you know what helped me? Journaling. I was feeling, why am I this way? When I was younger, I was so different from who I am today. Like polar opposite people. I'm pondering on the fact, like, okay, if I was so weird, so unique, so crazy back then, and my soul was like, it's because you put yourself in other people's boxes, in their projections. Whatever they were projecting, you were feeding into it. Your ego was feeding into that. So when you were growing up, it just became bigger and bigger and bigger. Like this backpack kept getting, this invisible coat or backpack we have on just kept getting so immersed in ourselves that we didn't even recognize that we were changing and separating ourselves from who we were before, or who our inner child was before we got, you know, dismantled with everything else or destructed with everything else. So I was like, oh, it's others' projections in their boxes that they're in that made me feel as though I needed to do that to have success, to be happy, to feel like all the feelings that I wanted and desired. But it really wasn't like that at all. What it did was suppress everything that I truly wanted, victimize myself, feeling like I cannot escape my environment, I cannot escape this mind construct, I cannot escape this box. And I had so much depression, and I hid it so much because I would do things for other people. I'm like, okay, this makes me feel better. I was still feeding that ego, like, you know what I'm saying? So when I started my spiritual journey, and everybody doesn't have to go through a spiritual journey, but it did help me. When I started this like spiritual journey and everything, it made me realize I was so separate from who I actually was and who my essence like knew I was, that at the end of actually coming back together, integrating and coming back to like my environment, the family and everything like that, I was so lost like in where I was, because I was like, what is this? Because of the integration, because of how much peace and how much I remembered about myself, and how much I worked so hard on learning who I actually was without anyone around, without like the family, friends, everything, just purely me and my soul. Like, it made me recognize, man, I was in those boxes. Like, you have no idea until you're out. Like, you have no idea until you're out. And it's just like, what? And it's not like, it's not a bad thing. It's just, I was completely detached because I'm no longer the person that I thought I was, because of because you only know what you know. You only know what you know. And that is that mind construct. If you only know a certain amount of things, then that's all you're going to project, and that's all you're gonna do. That's all you're gonna act out, like, you know what I'm saying? But if you keep learning more, and you keep doing more, and you keep like just really understand more, it really helps to navigate what life means to you, what success means to you, what you mean to you. Like, you know, like it's life-changing to disidentify from the mind, to disidentify from thinking that you know that everything is right and this is the way it's supposed to be, these expectations, like, you know what I'm saying, due to what we knew before, or what you do know, or what you've learned from childhood and all the way up, because it molds and shapes us of who we are today. You know what I'm saying? Always being around that, you know? So learning how to step out of those illusions, learning how to step out of yourself for a second, step out of the mind and stop doing the same thing, the same process. People get so tired of it, but you know what makes them keep going in that rat race? All of these other distractions that are temporary happiness, that is short gratification. That's what keeps us in the loop. We never have time to sit down and actually feel how we're feeling. We never have the time, or we never make the time, because we're so distracted by there's so many things going on. There's the TV, there's the computers, there's the phones, there's work, there's personal life. There's so many things going on. It's like, when do you have time? Like, and you don't think or feel about it until there's some crisis point, and that's when your life changes around. But you don't have to be in that crisis point to change your life around. You just have to be tired of your shit. You just have to be tired of that identity that you painted for yourself, or that was painted for you, that you kept and is stuck in within adulthood. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to get tired of that, because if you don't, you always will be content. You will always feel the short gratification. You will always feel the temporary happiness, temporary feelings, temporary, you know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, like, people will always have challenges. People will always have challenges. Even the happiest of sorry guys, even the happiest people, like, still have challenges. That's like, Earth is it's a school, like, you know what I'm saying? And like, that's what I'm saying. Like, especially with adults that have kids, they're like, oh, I need to teach you this, this, and this. Yes, you need to teach your kids these things, but life is going to teach them that themselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't build that unnecessary resentment when life is going to teach them that anyways. Like, and when they come to you, they can trust you, because they don't feel as though you're not forcing them to teach this lesson, because life is going to teach them that lesson anyways. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't force them to learn lessons because of what you went through. Like, their path is going to be completely different from your path, unless you force onto those lessons and they feel as though, oh, this is going to happen to me too, when it doesn't have to be the case. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know why that random message came out. Anyways, people that have challenges, everyone has challenges. The thing is, how are you responding to those challenges? People that are like millionaires have challenges. It might not be money challenges, but it's something else. People that are very happy and fulfilled with their life even have challenges. It might not have to deal with their peace, but it can be dealing with something outside of them or something else. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everyone has challenges. These emotions will never go away. We have this full spectrum for a reason, for us to transmute that into something way bigger than ourselves, to use that anger, to use that sadness, to use whatever we need to make it to the highest extreme possible. Practicing exaltation, okay? Practicing taking the lowest feelings, building them up like an alchemist. In those lowest feelings, like suffering, building that up and getting so tired of it that you shoot it off into something so much bigger within your actual consciousness, within your actual reality, because you use those emotions to fuel your fucking fire, okay? You light that shit and it explodes, all right? So everyone will have challenges at the end of the day. The key is, how do you respond to them? Because your perspective and your action is everything. Your perspective and your action is everything. Because if you perceive something in a negative way, let's say, rather than accepting, and I'll get into that later, rather than accepting it, then it's the situation, it's going to pan out in two different ways. It could pan out in multiple different ways. And that's what I want you guys to realize, that we are limitless beings. Like, we are multidimensional beings. So we don't have to stick and follow and be obsessed and addicted with the negative mindset, because that's what it is. We're addicted to it. We're addicted to seeing or seeking out the worst case scenario, or assuming this is what's going to happen, because that's what we're used to. When there's multiple different perspectives you can look at things at, like, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm here to do, to help you guys. That's the key. Like, see it from a different perspective than the negative low mindset, because if you're going to think from a low mindset, that's what you're going to fucking get. You know what I'm saying? It's karma. Like, karma is an action thing. So if karma is an action thing and your perspective is everything, karma isn't good or bad. Karma is just an action. Karma is just action. You get what you put out, okay? So if you're putting out this negative energy, then you're going to receive this negative experience. Like, that's karma right there. Like, and if you seek out this, you know, more of an open mindset about it, then you're going to receive like an open mindset about it. If you're positive about it, then you're going to receive a positive thing about it. Like, it's going to come back. Like, it's going to come back to you either way. So what perspective are you choosing to put your mind in, to put your essence in? Because there's multiple ways of like being in something, thinking about something, feeling about something. There's multiple ways to do it. You just have to train your body. You have to train your mind to learn how to work for yourself and work for your needs. Because the universe is always, when they're giving you back a situation from your perspective, from your world, because your perspective is your universe. So when they're giving that karma back to you, or giving you back that situation, it's reflecting your internal world. It's reflecting like who you are. You know what I'm saying? So if you're thinking negative, that's what you're gonna get. If you're thinking positive, that's what you're gonna get. Like, all positive things, like, it's not all peaches and creams. Like, even things that seem negative can be a positive thing for you later on down the line. And you look back and you're like, damn, like, thank God that happened, or thank how the experience transpired like that, because I could have went down such a different road. The universe is always working for you, and it's up to you to learn how to respond to that. It's up to you to learn how to respond to your situations, your challenges, because the universe is giving you hints from the outside. This is what your internal self looks like. So think about that, feel that out. Sit on that for a second. Actually, what you see on the external is always a reflection internally, okay? And once you start looking at that and seeing that for what it is, you start to recognize, okay, this person, like, for instance, for me, my roommate, me and him had lots of challenges together, and I realized he was a part of me that I didn't accept within myself because of X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I don't like sharing all of my personal life, but he was a part of me that I didn't accept, and I had to learn how to accept something inside of me before coming to him and realizing, okay, this is what this is. And I knew clearly what I needed to do, because I took that aspect of myself, acknowledged it, understood it, and it took me a really, not a really long time, probably like a couple of months to really work with this energy, to work with this part of myself that had some challenges with my own self, which I projected into my external, because that was what it was going on inside of me. If that makes sense. Again, everything outside of you is a reflection internal. You can start seeing that by your perspective and the actions that you take upon that, okay? Well, you guys are probably like, what the fuck, Tiana? Like, how the hell? What am I supposed to be doing, like, with all this shit going on? You know, again, like, society does this for a reason. We have all of these things for a reason. We do all of these things for a reason, so we can get stuck in the rat race. But here's the thing. If you focus yourself on the now, because remember, the mind, your mind and time are inseparable. They are logical things. If you focus on right now, if you focus on the now, your future can change. The future is something that is always changeable depending on your choices and your habits and what you're doing right now. And that's why that's why people say focus on the now. Start doing things now. Just Nike, just do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because if you're not doing it right now, it's not, when is it going to happen? You can't show up for yourself in the past. You can't do that anymore. You have to let that go. You have to learn how to acknowledge it and understand it and see how it can work with you for right now. How can I, for example, with me, with my roommate, I isolated myself because I needed time to understand and process, okay, why are these challengings always happening with us? Why do I always get triggered? Like, you know what I'm saying? What is up with this energy? I had to isolate myself to really understand. And not only with my roommate, it was also with my family and stuff too. But he's just, I'm just using him as an example. Thank you, William. Love you. But I had to understand, like, myself. I couldn't show myself the past. You know what I'm saying? I can't go back to the past unless you want to change the past. I do recommend, if you guys do want to learn how to change the past, stick to this video for the tips. But you can't physically tell people about or you can't physically show people your past. You have to show them what you got now. Like, the change always starts now. The time is always now. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything is always now, because if you're in the present, the past and future do not exist. And when that happens, and that's when the magic starts happening, you start living by the now. You start realizing that, okay, and this kind of ties into with death, but that's a whole nother topic. If you guys want to know about that, like, let me know. But we're not going to be talking about that today, because that's a whole nother rabbit hole we have to go down. But right now we're talking about how the mind and time is inseparable. So if you're focusing on the now and what you need to do for yourself right now, those changes, the habits, the choices, the baby steps will shape your future differently for you, because the future is never set in stone. It is always changing depending on what you do for yourself right now and how you change right now, what action you're taking now for the future. If you keep telling yourself, oh, this will never change, or like, I can't do this, like, this isn't how it's supposed to be, then that's how it's going to be for you, for your future. It's going to be like that, because that's what you're telling yourself right now. But if you start right now with just a little bit of this and a little bit of that, it doesn't even have to be so major. It does not have to be perfect. Just do it. Like, just do whatever you need to do to better yourself, to stop shitting on yourself, stop belittling yourself, because that's what you're doing, and it's gonna be a continuous loop if you just keep doing and saying and acting the same way. It's always gonna be the same. Everything will be the same if you keep doing the same thing, if you keep saying the same thing, if you keep behaving the same way, if you keep acting the same way. No one does that but you. You have a magical wand here, and you're sitting on it. You're shitting on yourself. Okay? Like, let's just get real. Okay, so step out of yourself, let go, allow yourself to be vulnerable, allow yourself to be honest with yourself, and just accept where you are right now. Don't compare yourself, don't measure yourself. That's a mind thing. Measurement equals logical. Just keeping that in mind. We want to become abstract with that's where our essence is at. It's very abstract, okay? Alice in the Wonderland vibes, okay? And of course there's balance, like, you know what I'm saying? But accept where you are right now. Just accept that. Look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, this is where I am right now. and acknowledge that. And maybe you do have to cry. Maybe you do have to, you know, go to a boxing class because you're so angry about where you are right now. Let you feel how you feel. Feel your feelings, because it's a navigation to what you truly want and desire, what your soul's been trying to push you at, okay? So accept where you are right now. And once you do, then act. You wanna accept where you are right now as if you chosen to be there. Because again, our habits and choices create who we are today. You know, our habits and choices create our future. So accept it as if you already chosen it, okay? It's okay where you are, you know, it as if you had chosen it, and then act, okay? Once you get once you accept where you are, once you feel your feelings, then you can act, because you don't want to act in a place of ego. You don't want to be egotistical, like, yeah, I'm here right now, so let me do everything in my power to change this right now, because I don't want to be here, because you're still moving from your ego. If you can accept where you are right now and be vulnerable with yourself and be honest and feel those feelings, it can change your life. I promise you. Even when I was trying back then, I knew, like, my soul was trying to navigate me to the place where I am now. And this was like the beginning of the year. I couldn't figure it out. Like, I couldn't, like, at the time, I couldn't figure out how to change my life, because I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, if I do X, Y, and Z, then this will equal the alphabet. Okay, like, I was thinking about it logically, and I was scrambling trying to change my life. Like, it was such an emotional toll, but I needed those experiences to understand myself, to understand and actually accept where I am. In the beginning, when I was trying to, you know, really understand, like, how to change my life, when I was thinking about it logically, I was also around people that were very logical as well, so it didn't help where I was, you know, going or anything, because that's how I was. That's what that reflection, you know, I was around logical people, therefore I was thinking logically. So that was a sign for me. I'm just now realizing that, actually. But in the beginning, I was rushing to do so many different things, like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, if I do this, this, and this, then I can become this. That didn't work, so I tried something else, and then I was like, okay, after this will happen. That didn't work. It took me to literally get down to my worst to understand, like, what I needed to accept where I was, and then to act. Like, I was coming from an egotistical place back then, rather than coming from my actual heart, okay? So with me doing that, the universe was always giving me whatever I needed to hear, whatever I needed to know for that next go around, let's say, the next experience. And, like, during the process, when I was first, like, accepting who I was and stuff, and what I did and what I created with myself, those words that I was journaling were so harsh. And it is okay if it's harsh. Like, I was literally like, it's literally me. I'm the one that's holding myself back. I am the one that is disconnected to my inner child. I'm the one that's doing that to me. And it was so hard to, like, admit that to myself, to actually see that I was doing that. And it took so much experiences to realize this, to get tired of myself, to where my soul was so loud. And that was when I was started making, like, my first moves of, okay, this is where I'm at. I've accepted that I have been creating something that is not actually me. I was pretending to be someone that I wasn't. So I started making a lot of trials and errors. Started acting by telling people the truth on how I actually felt. Now that was not easy at all. But I started actually gaining a lot of more knowledge and a lot of more access to my soul, because I actually learned how to accept where I was, accept that I was betraying myself and I was betraying my inner child, and I did this because I felt so guilty and so unworthy due to like my past. And because of this, it resulted into me doing and being something that I'm not, because I felt so unworthy of who I actually am. And so I was pushing my soul away, I was pushing my inner child away, because I felt like I couldn't accept that at all. So I had to really learn how to accept with myself and my experiences that kept coming up for me, like the feelings, like, you know what I'm saying, those reactions, because reacting to something is you literally reacting what happened in the past. That's why it's called reacting instead of responding. You know, challenges, it's either you're reacting again or you're gonna respond in a different way, like, you know what I'm saying. So me actually accepting who I was and who I am, and, you know, accepting my past, it allowed me to open up doors to things that I didn't even, Alice in the Wonderland vibes, open up to another different realm of something that I was and I still am like low-key fearful of it, because I've been in this mind construct for so long. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, like, I'm going through the exact same things where you guys going through. It just might be at different stages. There's levels to this shit, okay? And so when I accepted myself and who I was and who I am and in my past, and I started to open up doors, and that's when I realized, okay, this is the action that that he's talking about. Like you have to accept yourself as you chose this. Like, I chose this identity because I thought this is what would make me happy. This is what I thought would make me feel like this is who I am. Like, you know what I'm saying, I chose this identity for a reason, but it was really to keep me safe from not actually acknowledging and accepting the past and move on from it, so I can make bigger and better decisions for myself. So really learning how to accept yourself is accepting not only yourself, but what happened in the past and where you are right, and what those choices and habits have correlated to where you are right now. And accepting that means that you're saying, yes, life, I'm listening. Yes, life, I am ready to adventure with you. And when you're listening to life, you're listening to who? You're listening to your life, because remember, the universe is within us. We have our own universes. What makes it to the point where it's externally is when you start listening externally, okay? And you start expecting externally, and you start grouping yourself like with other people. There's nothing wrong with connecting with other people, of course, there's nothing wrong with that, but you want to be your individual person, because you want to make sure that you are meeting your needs, you're meeting your requirements. Like this, you have to work for this. You have to work for your happiness. You have to work for everything. So you saying yes to life means that you're saying yes to your life. You're saying yes to your universe. You're not saying yes to mom, dad, family, friends, great grandma. You're not saying yes to their life, because that's their life. You're saying yes to your life by accepting where you are now, and then allowing you to gradually act on it, okay? Like, when you accept it, you're kind of surrendering at that point. You know what I'm saying? You're surrendering and letting go. Okay, I've had enough. I've had enough. What do I do, universe? And the universe will start slowly, and sometimes fast, showing you what you need. It'll show you where you need to act in, where you need to act at. Like, you know what I'm saying? For me, after I accepted I was betraying myself, then it's led me to what I really needed to tell people, rather than me telling them what they want. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being codependent, like, you know what I'm saying, telling them the honest truth. And that's what led me to different things. And for everybody, it's going to be different, because we have different paths, different lives. But for me, my action was to start being honest with myself and start telling people how I actually felt, and being aware because I was being honest with myself. My first action was to purge, to be aware and purge, to tell the truth. And me telling the truth allowed me to purge out what was inside, okay? And it had a lot of backfire, I'm not gonna lie. It's not an easy process, but it gets you to the future that you want if you're up for it. Again, this is not for the weak. This is not for the weak. This is a journey that you have to trust yourself on, because when you trust yourself, that means you're trusting your essence, that means you're trusting God, that means you're trusting the universe, okay? Whatever you believe in, it builds trust, I promise you. It also says in this book, in the present, it is as it is. You being the observer allows you to see the pain and unhappiness you've created through the program you have been in. By stepping out of the resistant patterns, this can allow the present to be. By stepping out of those boxes, by stepping out of those illusions, by stepping out of people's projections, you can allow yourself to feel how you feel, rather than being like, okay, well, how would this make this person feel if I said this? Like, you know what I'm saying? You can see, you can expose yourself by being in the present moment and just observing, okay? So being a friend to yourself rather than an enemy can really help you transform your life. Like, being patient, compassionate, and honest with yourself can treat yourself like a best friend, okay? You wouldn't do half of the stuff that you do to yourself, like to your best friend, right? Well, do the same thing with you. Like, be your best friend. Tell it how it is. Like, you want to be a friend to yourself. You don't want to be an enemy to yourself, because when there's no enemies within, there's no enemies without. You know what I'm saying? So above, so below. As above, so below, I'm sorry. So really start treating yourself as a friend. Start re-parenting yourself as you are your inner child once again, okay? Now we're gonna go into transmutation. So transmutation, basically, when you're doing transmutation, you're learning how to be an alchemist, okay? You are turning metal into gold, or in this case, suffering into consciousness is what he says. You're learning how to transmute this pain, and it's kind of like you're literally an artist, okay? You don't have to be an actor. You can be an artist, and you can really learn how to just conjure up this I don't know what I'm doing, but with my hands, you can just really conjure up this anger, conjure up this depression, conjure up all of these below the line feelings, and transmute them. All right, transmute that metal, that stainless steel, is that a metal? I don't know. To let that metal, you know, come down and then build into gold, okay? Into power. So if you guys have any like diseases or illnesses, he does go in depth with talking about that. But I don't feel comfortable talking about that, because I know that's a really touchy topic, and I don't know much about transmuting illnesses into, I know it's possible because I've seen a lot of testimonies about it, but I don't like going into that stuff. But however, he does talk about this. If you guys have illnesses or diseases, I would highly recommend this book. Or there's another book. There's actually a lot of books out there that can help your illnesses and diseases change and to not actually be there anymore. It all really starts within the pain body. We all have pain bodies, but some of us have illnesses and diseases, and some of us just have trauma, okay? But I mean, we all have trauma, but ours isn't to the point where it's like it creates an illness or disease. There's steps to like learn how to transmute your old pain, transmute your old identity, okay? Before we begin, I want you guys to make this a priority to stop the suffering, to make it your responsibility to end the suffering for not only you and the now, but also that inner child, you know, also, you know, that your inner child, that, you know, what you went through, like you want to change that for, you know, for your little one in there, like, you know what I'm saying? So make it a priority to, stop the suffering, end the suffering, okay? You can do this by listening to my videos. You can do this by also getting help as well. Therapists, even me, I have services down below in the link tree. Like, learn how to make this a priority for yourself to end the suffering. And if you can't do it alone, I'm here, I'm your cheerleader. And of course, there's therapists out there as well, okay? So the first step is to focus on the feeling. So I want you to, this is just like a mini thing. I want you to close your eyes when this happens and breathe. And if you're out in public or something and you feel like it's weird closing your eyes or something like that, then just feel it inside. Like your body can tell you. The key is to consciously breathe. If you're consciously in, out, and out to yourself, you're allowing your mind to consciously do that and letting your essence kind of come up for you, okay? That's the first step. Now, no matter what the feeling is, it can be really negative, it can be really positive. No matter what it is, once you focus on it, once you focus on the feeling, accept that it's there. Just accept, be like, I accept this. I've chosen this feeling, I accept this feeling. You're saying yes to the feeling. Now you don't have to act on the feeling, but you can accept it internally, right? You want to feel it from your body. You want to feel it in your body. Don't think about it. Don't make the feeling into a thought, because if you're thinking of different thoughts, then that's when the mind comes in as well. So you want to accept it and feel it rather than think it, okay? And the way that you can do that, again, is to consciously breathe. And when thoughts come up, that's when you're like, oh, okay, I acknowledge that I'm thinking about this, so let me keep breathing, okay? You're smart enough to realize. Also, when this feeling comes in, please do not judge or try to label it. Again, that is the mind as well. If you judge it or you try to label the feeling, it's also going to prevent the essence to come up rather than the mind. And then step number 3 is just continue to observe this feeling and really learn how to be present within this feeling. This is where the power of the presence comes in, or the power of being in the now, the power of being in the present moment comes in, because you're not focused on labeling it, judging it, thinking about it. You are just simply feeling it. And that's what emotions need. Emotions are literally energy. It's literally energy in motion. So if you could just give it attention and just observe it and understand that it's there and accept that, your emotions can start working out for you, because they feel as though that you are listening to them. Every cell in your body is alive, just like you are. They're not externally here, but they're internally here, and they also help you. If you're in the present and taking care of this feeling and accepting this feeling, then this will help you with so much more of being present in other things, like, you know, or understand when you're not present in certain things. Okay, and then this is when alchemy happens, when you're turning your suffering, that feeling that you have, and you're allowing it to come up into your consciousness rather than reacting something from the past. You're allowing yourself to be in the now and understand, okay, this is the feeling that I'm feeling, and I accept this feeling. And you're observing it, and you're allowing yourself to just be in it for a second. And this is a really great time to see beyond the feeling, to feel beyond the feeling, and go deeper within the feeling, and to really understand how this feeling has come up, or how this trigger has come up. Because the triggers are just emotional flashbacks. they allow us to, that's why I say it's really awesome to expose yourself, or triggers is a blessing in disguise, because that's literally all that they are, is emotional flashbacks. You won't see it in your consciousness, but you feel, once you are triggered or have that feeling, it draws back to that past timeline. Again, we're multi-dimensional beings, so our invisible celestial body is going back to that past timeline, feeling that experience again and relating it to what is now. So if you can allow yourself to observe that feeling and accept what is, you can kind of go down deeper and understand, okay, this is from X, Y, and Z. Okay, this is how I'm feeling, and this is why I'm feeling this. You can go down the rabbit hole to understand the root of that suffering and learn how to, okay, observe it, and learn how to, okay, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I feel when somebody does this or I do this. How can I change that? How can I act on this? Okay, that acceptance and then act part, the act part comes in once you like understand it, like, you know what I'm saying? So, and you get to see beyond, that's the part, you get to see beyond the present moment, because you understand that this trigger, this emotional flashback isn't from right now. It's actually from way back when. It's just getting your attention now because it's been there forever. Energy needs to move. That's why exercising is so good, because energy is always constantly moving. Energy is literally always in motion, and if it's stuck inside of you, that reaction's always gonna get you, because your mind feels as though this is normal, this is the same. What do you mean? Like, this is what's gonna make you happy. What are you talking about? The mind can be, again, self-destructive, or it can be such a superb instrument, like he says in the book. So those are just the 3 steps, or kind of 4 steps. So, okay, so step number 1, focus on the feeling. 2, accept that it's there. Do not judge, do not label it, accept that it's there. The 3rd is to observe that feeling, okay? Just be the observer, seeing it from a bird's eye view, okay? And then 4th is to see beyond that. So start asking those deep questions. Start trying to get to the root of the problem. Start getting to what caused this in the first place. And a really good technique that you can do is the emotional completion process. If you guys look up Till Swan, she was the one that created that. And if you guys also look up fragmentation, it will help you kind of understand yourself and the different parts of you and the different energies that are stored within. Okay, so let's go ahead and go down to the tips and tricks. Those are the 3 to 4 steps. I want to say the observe and go beyond is kind of the same in one. So those are the 3 steps. So focus, accept, observe. Okay, focus, accept, observe, and then the see beyond is with the observe. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the tips and tricks. So with the tips and tricks, I highly recommend you guys to start journaling. So writing is really good. So journaling right now would be really, really good for you to get the feelings onto paper, okay? And understand and read back to be that observer. Okay, this isn't really as big as it is. This is just how I feel. Now, why did I make that so big? Like, you know what I'm saying? So start journaling. That really helps. Also, another thing that really helped me is emotional freedom technique, EFT. This is where you tap on your acupunctures. I think that's the word, acupunctures. Yeah, and you tap literally all over, and there's all types of videos on YouTube that you can do. There's acceptance EFT, there's happiness EFT, there's good energy EFT, there's all types of different topics, depression EFT, and they really allow, so what you do is you're tapping on these points, right? And you're saying all of this negative stuff first to allow the negativity out, and then you transition to the positive, and you do it until you feel as though your body has calmed down and you kind of understand what's going on. And it also allows you, especially if you're a visual person, it allows different experience to come up for you to understand, okay, this is where it started. Okay, that's a really good tip. And then also, for my sexual beings out there, my sacred sexual beings, sexual transmutation is also really good as well. So let's say that this is a spiritual thing. If you don't like spiritual stuff, I completely understand. But if you are feeling like very angry about something, and you focus on it and you accept it and you observe it, you can use that energy to literally do like a sexual transmutation. So you can just do a lot of sexual things that allows you to let that beast out, to let that anger out, and to transmute it and to let it go. Because like when you're orgasming or what do you guys do? Once you're letting that out, let's just say letting it out. Once you let that out, you're literally letting those emotions out too, because again, emotions are energy emotions. So you're literally letting and releasing all of that anger out, and it allows you to let that energy move on. Because when you're doing the sexual transmutation, you really want to focus on that anger or anything, like, you know, just focusing on the feeling of how you're feeling. You want to make sure you're using that, setting that intention. This sexual transmutation is for me feeling this type of way, you know what I'm saying, or whatever you feel. And then you use that sexual transmutation to really move that energy, and you're moving your body and you're moving like everything to, you know, to release it, you know what I'm saying? So you're transmuting that low energy into something very sexual, something very pleasurable, and you're also releasing that energy as well because of your intention of it. Now, if you have like sexual like problems, or like if you have really hard problems with your sexuality or just sex in general, I don't recommend it. So only if you're okay with and you feel like sex is really good for you, or if it will be beneficial for you. Like if you have problems with your sexuality or sex, I don't think it'd be really good for you. Okay, I'm just being honest, because sexual transmutation actually helps me a lot. I'm coming in my body within sexuality, so why not? You don't have to have sex with another person. Like you can literally do it like with yourself, by yourself. Okay, that's, you know, that's what I'm talking about. Because you also, if you're having sex with another person, like you can connect with their stuff, and you don't want to really do that like energetically. Also, silence, stillness, practicing silence and stillness can really help those thoughts come up, and anything honestly come up, and you practicing like, oh, okay, you noticing, being the observer of your thoughts, being the observer rather than feeling like you are your thoughts, can allow you to understand why do I not like silence? Why do you know what I'm saying? Because there's beauty in silence, you know what I'm saying? There really truly is. But a lot of people don't like silence because their inner thoughts come up, because they can't handle what's going on inside. So practicing silence and being in stillness can really help, which leads me to the next tip, is meditating. If you can't meditate, that's completely okay. Try something else that's like in a form of meditation, like yoga. Those two can really help. And also, if you feel like you can't stay still for that long, this is for stillness and meditation. Just try it for 5 minutes. again, baby steps. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be this 30 or to an hour, 2-hour video. Literally sit by yourself, okay? And just for 5 minutes a day. Being alone can really help as well, because you kind of get to understand yourself and learn how to accept the parts of you that you didn't before. So learning how to go out to eat by yourself, traveling with yourself in a safe manner, of course. Learning how to just be by yourself really helps understand yourself and accept yourself as well. Practicing surrendering, patience, compassion, all of those things are life skills. The more that you practice them like a muscle, as if it's like a, you know, inner muscle, the more that you are, the more things will flow, because you practice those things. You have to practice stuff that you don't know, you know what I'm saying? Surrendering is just simply letting go. It's allowing you to move your mind energy into spiritual energy, okay? Compassion and patience really help as well. And then also, if you guys didn't see before, the emotional completion process and fragmentation. Fragmentation is both, those two are both by Till Swan. She has those videos, so watch those videos to go deeper within your emotions. It's actually really amazing. The emotional completion process allows you to change your past. You just have to see it for yourself, because I'm not going to explain it. But it allows you to transmute your past by doing this process. It's going to be it's pretty good for people that are visual as well. So I hope this helps, guys. This is all that I have for the transmutation videos. Those are the 3 to 4 steps of the transmutation process. And then we kind of learned how to disidentify with the mind, and got a little bit of motivational speaking with it too. I will always motivate you guys. I will always channel in what I need to tell you guys what's up, because I want you guys to live the best life that you guys deserve and thrive as much as you can, okay? So thank you guys so much for watching. Please check out the next video. It's going to be an interesting one, okay? Love you guys so much. Bye.